G'day once again. Just doing an update on a loan agreement that I did many years ago on my old channel. But there's a few new points that I've put in this one and updated it a little. But not many people are getting the true meaning. There's a lot of people talking about loans and mortgages and that sort of thing, but none of them have got a clear picture. Hopefully this will explain it in a more simple manner, and you'll be able to see the sleight of hand that is used when we go to the bank for a loan. Now, mortgage, mort equals death and gage equals grip. So how do they change us from a loan to a grip? Because when we go to the bank, they only ever advertise loans, but somehow we end up with a mortgage. Okay, now this is how they do it. We're going to explain it in detail here. Now, I went on to the ANZ Bank's site and looked at their loan application. You can do this on any bank anywhere in the world. That's up to you. But I've put the address lines there if you want to copy those into your browser and go and have a look. But it's easy enough to just go onto a bank website and you'll find them there. So let's look a bit deeper into how this loan agreement ends up as a mortgage. Okay, so we go to our New Zealand law dictionary here because I'm doing everything in New Zealand, so I want to know what's happening in my own country. But you can do this in your own country. Loan is the temporary transfer of an asset. Oh, whose asset? The temporary transfer of an asset, usually funds, from a lender who controls the funds to a borrower in return for payment, usually in the form of interest. Okay, so it's pretty ambiguous, that, but I thought the loan, they were going to give us some money, put some money in our bank, but it says here it's a transfer of an asset. We will find out what that asset is slowly but surely. Okay, now the bank being the lender, here's what a lender is: a person who grants to another the use of a thing. So it's not money, it's a thing, on the understanding that it or its equivalent will be returned. Okay, so the lender is granting us the use of a thing. Pretty ambiguous, isn't it? Now, up the top there, we saw that the lender who controls the funds to a borrower. Well, a borrower means a person to whom money is lent. Okay, now this is the first time we've seen money here. So we need to find out what money is, really, I guess. So we'll go to Butterworth's, and currency authorised as a medium of exchange by the law of New Zealand or another country. So the first part, money, is currency. So we look at currency. A unit of money used in a country. A unit of money. So currency is a unit of money, and money is currency. So take from that what you like. See the definition of the banknote in the Crimes Act. So we go to the Crimes Act 255, and for the purposes of this section and sections 256 and 263, banknote means any negotiable instrument. Okay, so now we've got a third thing coming into play here. It looks like we've got a negotiable instrument. But I'm sure if we look a bit further, we'll find more. So we went to Bovier's online dictionary, and it says money is gold and silver. Okay, money is gold and silver. So what is it? I'm sure courts would have a very hard time defining what money is, and you will find that they never ever ask for money. Okay, now we need to look at borrower a bit further. This is the Bovier's definition of borrower. Contracts: to whom a thing is lent at his request. Now, once again, we've seen this thing. I know what thing is, but if you want to go and have a look what thing is, it would be well worth your while looking up thing. Now, I want to draw your attention to 4. The loan being gratuitous. The borrower is bound to extraordinary diligence and is responsible for slight neglect in relation to the thing loaned. Okay, the loan is gratuitous. That means it's not repayable. It's not repayable. It's gratuitous. What I suggest you do with any of these long definitions is just pause the recording and have a look through yourself at some of the other meanings there, but I'm bringing to your attention the things that matter the most. Now, earlier on I told you I went on to the ANZ website. Now, this is it here. Now, we'll start at the very top, your loan summary. The next thing down, date of this loan summary. About this document, this loan summary outlines the new home loan. This loan summary and home loan terms and conditions form your loan agreement. When you sign at the end of this loan summary. Now, has anyone spotted mortgage on this document? It's not on it, I can assure you. And this is how they fool us. We go to the bank, and what they're doing is they're transferring something called a thing to us, but somehow we end up with a mortgage. Okay, so there's a word there that piqued my interest, and it happens to be interest. A right or title to or estate in any real or personal property. Okay, now there's a few other meanings there. The income of a fund invested, or the annual profit or recompense of a loan of money. Okay, well, they don't loan us money. They've made that clear. They only give us an interest in a thing. Okay, so the interest there is very important. They're taking the interest in us, or the security, which we'll cover now. In this section, we'll list any existing securities we already hold that will secure your ANZ Flexible Home Loan. Okay, so they have a security in the form of a bank book. Whenever you apply for a credit card, a bank account, or anything like that, you are the security, and we'll see that shortly. But the security, every time they enter our property, the property held in the at the Treasury in the name of the Father, they must get a new agreement for us. So we'll look at where they get this. Now, this is where they get this from, the Trustee Act. Now, you'll have to do a double take here, because the first one interpretation we come to says bank means a person carrying on in New Zealand the business of banking. What? This is the Trustee Act, and yet we've got bank here. Means a person carrying on in New Zealand. Okay, now there's a lot of different meanings in here, but you'll see that this is the act, how they get their security over us. We are a security, and how they, with our will, get to access our trust account. Okay, so conveyance. They do it by conveyance. And right at the bottom there, you'll see hereditaments means real property, which under an intestacy might at common law have devolved on an heir. Now, if we hadn't used the birth certificate, if we had used the printout, we may have been able to claim as heir. But now, because we didn't, we're coming in as trustees. They're going to do it under the Trustees Act. Okay, now there's a lot in this. This is the, I searched for securities, so you search for one word and they all come up yellow. But there's a few things in here that you need to look at. Payment in relation to stocks and securities includes the deposit or transfer of the same. Payment includes the deposit or transfer of the same. And to pay has a corresponding meaning. Yet they come and try and take reserve bank notes off us for some reason. Okay, now there's another one right down the bottom here. There's a lot in there. Have a look through. Just pause it and have a look through. Property includes real and personal property, and any estate share, and any interest in any property, real or personal. Okay, and any debt, and anything in action. There's that thing again. And right down the bottom here, securities include stock, funds, shares, and convertible notes, and securities payable to bearer. Okay, so we're going to show you how they do this. Securities payable to bearer includes securities transferable by delivery or by delivery and endorsement. Okay, so we will cover this very shortly because that's important. Securities payable to bearer, and I'll show you how they do that. Stock, that's us. We are the securities. Okay, so have a read of those. Just pause it and have a look. That's the Trustee Act and how they get there. Now, your acknowledgement when you sign this loan summary. Okay, there's no mortgage here, folks. This is this is all about the loan, but I'll show you how they do it. You accept the loan and will comply with your loan agreement. Everything is given away by will. Everything is granted by will and everything is given by will. So it is your will that they need. That gives them power of attorney. And in the next line down, you are bound by and will comply. Everything is by your will. Now, one other thing I need to point out here is, as sample customer, as borrower, you will note that there is no other party signs this. This is only you signing, and they then have power of attorney. The date is also important. The date and your signature is all they need with your will to get power of attorney to enter your property, which is the trust account held by Treasury in the name of the father. Now, there's the name of the father. This is my birth certificate. So you will see that there is a separation. The given names, William Henry, and the surname or family name. Okay, now I need to point out what this birth certificate is. I couldn't tell you how many of these I've ordered, probably about 30, I would say, because these are your share of the Commonwealth. If you turn your birth certificate over, you will find there is a unique number on the back, and it's different every time you order one because it is a share certificate. And this share certificate, if it is filled out in the correct way, accesses your share of the Commonwealth. Now, I have made many bonds and put them on the back of these birth certificates and sent them to Wellington, to the Treasury, and I have never had one back. Okay. Now, where we made the mistake is that we took the name of the father, and by doing so, we entered a different realm. Instead of being free, we now become tied to this object, which we shall see. Now, surname. This is etymology online. It's well worth searching the root of all these words. Now, surname is name, title, or epithet. I'm not too sure on the pronunciation of that epithet. Hope it's right. Added to a person's name. Okay, name, title, or epithet added to a person's name. All right, so something was added. We'll cover epithet shortly, but just need you to see that the surname is a name, title, or epithet added to a person's name. So I was only given the name William Henry, and then I had something added, which was the birth. So I went from being born to being birthed. Okay, surname, a name which is, this is from Bovier's. Surname, a name which is added to the Christian name and which in modern times have become family names. They are called surnames because originally they were written over the name in judicial writings and contracts. There you go, folks. They were written over the name in judicial writings, so only in the legal system is where they were used. And if you look at the end bit there, they were taken from something attached to the persons assuming them. Okay, and this is what I just explained to you. Attached to the persons assuming them. We assumed that we had a surname. Okay, and the living has something attached to it called a surname, which is the trust. But if you know how to access your trust, there's no problem. So hopefully this may get you a little bit closer towards that goal. Now, Merriam-Webster, we look at epithet in here, and it says a characterizing word or phrase accompanying or occurring in place of the name of a person or thing. A disparaging or abusive word or phrase. The part of a taxonomic name identifying a subordinate unit within a genus. Okay, so what they're telling you here is you don't want to be using the surname. We can only use the names we were given. If we use the surname, we're in deep, deep doo-doos. Okay, so now comes the sleight of hand. Now, what I told you about the birth certificate is each one of those certificates has a unique number on the back. Now, whenever anyone wants to access your account, the first thing they must do is get our consent. Once they have our consent, they will order a birth certificate, just like I have, I've told you, and put bonds on the back of them. These people know how to fill out the birth certificate, so they order a birth certificate, and when you put the right wording on the back, they become a bond, and these go out onto the bond market. The bank now puts the bond out onto the bond market. The moment that an institution buys the bond, the bank phones us and say, your loan has been approved. Okay, so once they've ordered the, same thing happens in the courts, by the way. Whenever you get called up, if a person appears at the first arraignment, then they order a birth certificate and they put it out as a 90-day bond. And they fill out the back of the birth certificate as a 90-day bond. Same thing here. They put it out. Now, once your bond goes out onto the market, this is the company that does it. Okay, Computershare. Now, I've been and talked to these people, and they can set you up if you've got 75. Oh, it's probably gone up now because I went there in 2010. It was 75 grand, and they could set up so that I accessed my trust account. But, however, Computershare is the one that trades all these bonds. They certainly do them here and in Australia, probably worldwide. I'm not too certain, but certainly. Here in Australia, Computershare is the place where these bonds get put. Okay, now the sleight of hand gets even more so. You'll get a call from your lawyer. Your lawyer will need you to sign a mortgage agreement. Now, hold on. You went into the bank for a loan. How does the lawyer get involved and ask you to sign a mortgage agreement? But the mortgage agreement is to ensure that the institution who purchased the bond gets the coupon rate paid. Now, when the bank puts out an interest rate, I'm not totally sure on this, but I know that part of it is the coupon rate for the institution, and only part of it is the for the bank. This is why they will try and mortgagee sale you as quick as they can. Because I'll show you what happens very shortly. But the coupon rate is for the institution who purchased the bond. Now, if you check your bank statements, this is what you're going to find is that your interest is shown as a debit. That's the coupon rate. And the loan repayments are entered as a credit. So what happens is that your loan keeps diminishing, but the amount that is held in a bank account on your behalf keeps getting bigger. Now, when you have paid off your loan or mortgage, you are supposed to ask the bank for that unclaimed money. But after 90 days, if we don't claim it, the bank then goes to the Treasury and says, we have some unclaimed money here. May we have it? And they always get told yes. So hopefully that has made it a little more clearer on how the banks operate with the two different documents, the loan agreement and the mortgage agreement, both very, very separate, and how they trick us with the sleight of hand by getting the lawyer involved to sign the mortgage agreement when we should be questioning and saying, how come we have to sign this? We didn't apply for a mortgage. Hope that's cleared some of your doubts and thoughts up, and hope it moves you closer to your goal.